Okay, I have a question. Not a good question. Not a productive question. Definitely not a question I should have spent 3 weeks thinking about. What if every single human being on Earth, all 8 billion of us, sneezed at the exact same moment? Same millisecond, synchronized, global, simultaneous. I know what you're thinking. That's disgusting. And you're right, it is disgusting. But it's also, and I cannot stress this enough, extremely interesting. So let's do the math. Before we blow 8 billion noses at once, we need to understand what we're dealing with. A sneeze is your body's way of violently ejecting something irritating from your nose. Your trigeminal nerve, the big sensory nerve in your face, detects the irritant and sends a panic signal to your brainstem. Your brainstem responds by coordinating a full-body explosion. Your eyes close, your chest compresses, your diaphragm spasms. And then, in about 150 milliseconds, your body forces air out through your nose and mouth at up to 35 miles per hour. That's 15.5 meters per second. Fast enough to cause whiplash if you tried to hold it in. Which you should never do, by the way. People have ruptured blood vessels doing that. Don't. Now here are the numbers that matter. One average sneeze expels roughly 100,000 droplets of fluid. Total fluid volume per sneeze, about 0.3 milliliters. That's less than a quarter of a teaspoon. Sound level at close range, approximately 70 decibels, about as loud as a vacuum cleaner. And the force. To estimate it, we use Newton's second law. Force equals change in momentum divided by time. A sneeze expels roughly 3 grams of air and fluid at 15 meters per second over about 0.1 seconds. That gives us 0.003 kilograms times 15 meters per second divided by 0.1 seconds. 0.45 newtons. Call it half a newton. That's roughly the force of a medium-sized apple sitting in your hand. Doesn't sound like much. Multiply it by 8 billion and we'll talk. Alright, 8 billion people, 70 decibels each. What does that add up to? Here's where it gets fun, and also where most people's instincts completely fail them. Because decibels don't add the way regular numbers do. Decibels are logarithmic. That means every 10 decibels is 10 times more sound energy. So 80 dB isn't a little louder than 70 dB, it's 10 times more intense. When you have n identical sound sources, the combined level is total dB equals original dB plus 10 times log base 10 of n. So with 8 billion sneezes, total dB equals 70 plus 10 times log base 10 of 8 billion. Log of 8 billion is about 9.9. So 70 plus 99 equals 169 decibels. 169 decibels. To put that in perspective, a normal conversation is 60 dB. A chainsaw at 1 meter is 110 dB. A jet engine at 30 meters is 140 dB. A gunshot next to your ear, 160 dB. Instant permanent hearing loss. A rocket launch at close range, around 180 dB. 169 decibels would rupture eardrums within several kilometers of any city. The pressure wave would shatter windows and knock people off their feet. Sound waves would propagate from every city and village simultaneously, collide, interfere, and amplify unpredictably. The Earth itself would ring like a bell. Seismometers would register the event. Then, silence. And also probably a lot of ringing. I need to talk about the mucus. I know you don't want to, but I need you to. Each sneeze produces about 0.3 milliliters of aerosolized fluid. Multiply that by 8 billion people. 8 billion times 0.3 milliliters equals 2.4 billion milliliters, which is 2.4 million liters, which is 2,400 cubic meters. An Olympic swimming pool holds 2,500 cubic meters of water. So, in the half-second of the global sneeze, humanity collectively launches almost exactly 1 Olympic swimming pool worth of aerosolized mucus into the atmosphere. Simultaneously. Everywhere. At once. For approximately 30 seconds after the global sneeze, there is a measurable increase in airborne particulate matter across the entire surface of the Earth. A thin, invisible, globally distributed cloud of human mucus. I want to be very clear. This is fine. Everything is fine. Please do not think about this. It is, briefly, raining mucus indoors and outdoors, outdoors on Earth. Everything is fine. This is my favorite part. What if all 8 billion people aligned themselves to sneeze in exactly the same direction? Could we nudge the Earth? We calculated that one sneeze produces about 0.5 newtons of force. 8 billion sneezes in the same direction. Total force equals 8 times 10 to the 9 times 0.5 newtons, which equals 4 giganewtons. That sounds enormous. But now we divide by the mass of the Earth. 5.97 times 10 to the 24 kilograms. Acceleration equals 4 times 10 to the 9 divided by 5.97 times 10 to the 24. That's 6.7 times 10 to the negative 16 meters per second squared. The distance the Earth moves during the half-second sneeze, 1/2 times a times t squared. That's 8.4 times 10 to the negative 17 meters. The diameter of a single proton is about 10 to the negative 15 meters. So the entire human race, sneezing simultaneously, moves the Earth roughly 1/10 the width of a proton. The Earth doesn't care. The Earth has never heard of us. But Newton's third law. Every force has an equal and opposite reaction. That 0.5 Newton recoil on an average 70-kilogram human gives a recoil acceleration of 0.007 meters per second squared. Over half a second, 0.0035 meters per second of recoil velocity. Tiny, but not zero. At the exact moment of the global sneeze, every human on Earth lurches backward. Some people fall. We estimate somewhere between 50 and 200 million people stumble, trip, or sit down unexpectedly. The Earth moved 1/10 of a proton, but 100 million people fell over. Seems fair. Let's talk about what happens next. After a sneeze, your body takes a big recovery breath. 8 billion people doing this simultaneously. Each person inhaling about 2 liters of air in 1 second. That's 16 million cubic meters of air inhaled per second globally. The collective gasp produces a measurable momentary drop in atmospheric pressure at ground level, everywhere simultaneously. Then comes the silence. 8 billion people, exhausted, sitting in a mucus-dusted world, many of them on the ground. And somewhere, someone says, "Bless you," and they have to say it 8 billion times. So let's review. All 8 billion of us sneezed at the exact same moment, creating 169 decibels. Enough to rupture eardrums, shatter windows, and ring the Earth like a bell. We launched 1 Olympic swimming pool of mucus into the atmosphere. We applied 4 giganewtons to the Earth, moving it 1/10 the width of a proton, while knocking 100 million of ourselves over from the recoil. And then we all took a big breath. Total duration of the event, about 3 seconds. Time to say bless you to everyone. Assuming 1 second per person, about 253 years. You're welcome.